Hi there, welcome to the latest episode of my 10-minute moan. And the topic of this 10-minute moan is Fergus Ewing, who is an MSP for SNP, getting tore in to Nicola Sturgeon yesterday. So what happened is Fergus was asking some questions in Parliament yesterday, and Shona Robinson was the one answering on behalf of the government. And he asked an absolutely fantastic question, tongue-in-cheek, the way he asked it, and nobody, although he said, I'm not going to mention any names, it was perfectly obvious who he was having a pop at when he mentioned and described the type of thing he seems to suggest is tax avoidance or evasion. Can't remember which one's the nice, cuddly version that's actually okay. So let's just first watch what Fergus Ewing done yesterday in Holyrood, and then we shall discuss it. Thank you.
Also, the Cabinet Secretary argues that those who have the broadest shoulders in Scotland, the highest incomes, should pay more tax. Is she concerned, therefore, that the overall tax revenue from income tax is being reduced by some people, and I mention no names, who choose to set up a limited company, who then appear able to insert into that company's income from, for example, book royalties or TV appearances, and thereby reduce their liability to income tax and the amount of money for Scottish public services? So does she deprecate the use of that device?
Cabinet Secretary. Well, can I say to Fergus Ewing that our approach to tax is founded on core principles which ensure that everyone pays their fair share of tax, and we support very strong measures to tackle tax avoidance and evasion. We continue to work with HMRC through our service level agreement to ensure that Scottish income tax is collected efficiently and reliably. And to date, there's been no evidence that Scottish taxpayers have been more likely to engage in non-compliant behaviour than in the rest of the UK. And we continue to closely monitor this with HMRC.
Right. Outstanding by Fergus. Now, Fergus Ewing is one of these SNP MSPs that, despite his politics and despite being a member of the most decrepit political party in the history of political parties, I can't hate the man, right? Because he does this quite often. He just goes totally off the card and just says, we're rotten, right? And this is a very good instant of him saying, we're rotten. He's quite clearly having a pop at Nicola Sturgeon and possibly even Humza Yousaf when he describes the people using loopholes to pay less tax, using it for books and TV appearances, when everybody knows Nicola's got a book coming out and she got paid 25 grand recently to go on ITV's election result programme. So he's quite clearly pointing at her and could be suggesting likewise. Because Humza has also got a new limited company registered at Companies House. But what I found most hilarious was Shona Robinson's retort, where she just waffles a bit about, we're doing our best and stuff. But then she does that age-old nationalist thing, where she points at the rest of the UK and said, we're not as bad as them, so everything's all right. And that tends to be the line for the SNP, that as long as we're less corrupt than the Tories and we're less bad to old folk than Labour, then that somehow is the line, right? As long as we're just a bit better than them, we're all right. So we can be bad. Do you know what I mean? Tories can rip off tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of pounds from expenses, but when Michael Matheson does it, well, we're not as bad as them, right? This is just another one where she's saying, well, so what? Some people do avoid tax, but it's not any higher than anywhere else in the UK. It's not the point, Shona. You're running the Scottish Parliament. And you keep telling us these other people, like England, Westminster, are so terrible. Isn't it strange that you use that as your moral compass and line in the sand, as long as we're not as bad as Westminster? So you stick at it. Fergus, keep it up. You're an absolute dream. And I doubt, we've had a lot of people recently come out and say that, that's them put their hat in the ring for a candidate's position at the next Holyrood elections. I've not heard Fergus do that yet, right? And I don't think he will, because I don't think Fergus has got a hope in hell chance of being a candidate for the SNP in May 2026. And I'm sad at that. The reason I'm sad at that is I'm putting a name forward for a candidate as a candidate for the election in 2026. And if I'm lucky enough to get voted in, he's one of these guys that actually wouldn't mind sharing a canteen with, having a blether with, sharing a room called Parliament with. Because I genuinely think he's one of these guys that just wants what's best for Scotland. And his politics might be slightly varied for me in terms of Scotland being independent, but I genuinely think he's not a bad guy. And he just does want what's best for Scotland. And sometimes I'll agree with him, sometimes I won't. That's just the way the cookie crumbles. But he's not one of these idiotic cult member SNPs that just do whatever Nicola and her cohorts tell him to do. So, fair play to Fergus Ewing. I knew this one wouldn't be nowhere near a 10-minute moan, but there you go. I was hardly moaning. I was having a wee chortle. So, if you enjoyed the video, give it a thumbs up. If you've not already done so, please hit the subscribe and notifications bell. Give me your comments below. What do you think of Fergus and Robinson's retort? But most importantly of all, unless you're Shona Robinson or any of the other SNP MSPs that can do nothing but try and excuse the behaviour of people in their own party. Not you, but
everyone else. Have a great day. Cheerio, bye now.